we want to dig into memory, I suppose, or your current understanding of downer, and how you. These would be a little bit abstract terms, but how you define historic, how you define this space, your experiences. But as we get deeper into the interview, we're hoping to be a little bit more specific than that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Have you put on?
Am I on? Am I on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All
I will
right.
be checking that your voice like this.
And so we will hopefully be using chunks of what you have to say in a presentation, audio presentation, sort of like an NPR kind of a thing.
Sure.
And we have a release that allows us to do that, to use,
Okay, I didn't bring my glasses here. What does it say?
I'll let Dan talk about this. I don't think I've read it.
I can actually talk about it. Okay.
So I should fill this out. I have to fill this out. Huh?
Yeah.
You know, why don't I just go to my glasses? They're just over
sure.
there. If you don't mind, then I can actually write without legibility.
Actually, mine is working.
Great, great.
I think doing this kind of interview with two people is difficult. I don't know. You have to listen to.
I honestly don't think that's necessary. I
Yeah.
feel like at the beginning, once you check in, you don't really need to listen.
Yeah. So I don't know.
We should probably tell them also that, if there's something that they've said that they'd like to.
Yeah, you can admit it.
This is nice. Don't forget to take this.
I think I should ask her too. Okay.
Oh, from the School of Architecture. Okay. So Arijit Sen is the professor who teaches the course then that you're taking right
That's
here.
right.
He is a project director for this project.
He's the what?
Project director,
Okay.
and you can contact him actually if you want, if you would like to, or if you have any concerns.
Oh, no, I'm not interested. I don't have any concerns at this point.
We'll give you
But,
something to
yeah.
complain about.
So this is called the Historic Water Tower Neighborhood.
Yeah. This the large chunk from the
From north?
Downer Avenue to the lake,
Okay.
and the ends. I don't know. It's just go beyond the Kenwood.
All the way to the water, to the beach, including the beach.
Yeah.
All the way to, to
Yeah.
going down?
Bradford Beach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
It's
if
just-
there's anything, excuse me just a second, if there's anything you decide at any time that, maybe I shouldn't have said that, I don't want that out there, let us know, and you have the right to, it says that in there, you have the right to get it struck.
Okay,
Just
all
take
right.
it right out.
Okay, that's good.
And so to give a little more detail, to describe the program a little bit more, we have four teams right now. So again, we're the Downer team.
Okay.
There's a Villa Terrace Beach team. There's we have a couple of houses, early 20th century houses we've taken a look at on Kenilworth.
We've measured them, done actual
Floor plan.
floor
actually.
Okay,
plans.
wow.
Um,
Yeah.
We try to understand
How people lived?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. And
We have
what
found
size were people?
amazing
How big were
things.
people 100 years ago, right?
Oh, they were only this big.
Yeah.
So with this one, we're not doing necessarily any measurements of Downer, but we'll be doing like a photo essay and interviews like these to create a documentary.
Maybe you could measure the size of the pews that were installed and see how people have grown. Strike that, please, strike that.
No.
Should I start filling in my name and places?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Interviewed individuals,
This is for
okay.
him to keep.
Yes.
You can keep this. This is Susan's.
What's this, by me and so-and-so? What does that mean? Grant buildings? Almost.
We also need to sign the form.
By me and, it does, what do I write in there?
And so we're gonna like just.
Oh, you
put
put your
the-
names
yeah.
in there, okay.
And just the date, please. Here.
Okay, oh, I see it, in interviewers.
Yeah.
On
It's complicated.
6/18/13. Okay. And then present, okay, printed name. Okay, so that's, and this is, what is this, what is this? That's that's the same thing, huh? But-
Yeah, no, it's different actually.
Oh, I have to sign that one
Okay,
too?
This is saying that you're not
Okay.
being paid.
Okay,
And
so this is not I'm not doing, there will be no works for hire?
and your information will be public. Or something like.
Information, meaning my name and my
Yeah,
address.
Yeah, and
No,
not
no,
address.
what you know.
This,
Well,
this
you-
is-
The interview.
This interview will be made public, yeah, yeah.
Well, probably your name will be, you know.
Yeah,
Will be
it's
will be
not gonna
downplayed to
known.
protect the innocent, because I am innocent.
Yeah.
They all say that.
I all say that. I really am. Okay, so I'm not going to read all this. Let's get moving on here. I'm sure it's all fine. Project name, you guys will print the name of subject? Oh, I'm a subject now, huh?
Don't you love that?
Yeah. Wires, are we hooked up?
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, have we got his
term,
heart?
technical term for like interviews.
Right. Yeah, in psychology, the subject of an interview,
Yeah.
yeah.
We don't like to use as a subject, but
Yeah, we don't use that word.
we don't use that word.
The lawyer uses that word.
Sure. 13. Okay, so I guess we're all set then?
Thank you.
So that's for you.
This
That's
is
for you.
to keep.
I keep this one.
Yes.
And that's
Okay,
yours.
So let's begin.
And is this for me too? What is this?
Yeah.
No, it's just,
You
Or
can just use
Oh,
that.
it's just for looking at it?
Yeah.
if you need to.
Yeah.
All right,
It's just a map of down Albany.
okay.
Okay, let's begin with your name, please.
Stephen, S-T-E-P-H-E-N. Do you want my formal name, or do you want what people call me? Is this for
What
what we?
people call you.
I just call me Steve.
Okay, and
Yeah.
your last name is?
Wolf.
And do you live in the neighborhood?
I don't live in the neighborhood that you've actually described, from down or over there. I live 5 blocks that way, toward Humboldt.
5 blocks to the
Say Murray Avenue,
Murray. Oh, yeah.
a little west of here.
west.
words.
Yes. So I don't live in the area actually that you're actually examining.
But you're 5 blocks away.
Right. So just you know, I mean, if you, I'm happy to talk. I'm not trying to get out. I'm not trying to get out of talking.
Okay, so 5 blocks away, Downer is still
Is that still part of it?
central to your,
Yes, and I suppose because of the church, because I lived over where I live right now for years before that, but I really didn't get over here much at all. But because of the church,
oh, that's interesting.
I'm kind of a reclusive guy because I'm a composer and a musician, so I'm practicing all the time. I practice 6 hours a day. I study and write for about 6 hours a day.
What
so that doesn't-
instrument?
I'm the music director here, so that means I play organ and piano.
Okay, okay, and so like, where did you, now you're over here more, but before that, like, where would you do your shopping and your groceries and stuff like that?
I would do that at places near where I was working.
Ah. And where was that before you were working
That was
here?
around Marquette and in Shorewood.
Oh,
I was a landlord. I had a bunch of properties.
uh-huh. And,
And so I had no reason to come over here, and I was working constantly. So I might not be a real good candidate for telling you what's going on in the neighborhood because I tend to keep my head down and just keep doing what I like to do.
but what you like to do is in the heart of this neighborhood.
And at this point, it is in the heart of the neighborhood.
Okay.
As I've been here for about, I think I came here, it must be going on 10 years, maybe 2003, 2004.
Uh-huh. And where did you get your musical training?
Musical training was at Bowling Green State University in Ohio, in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Now, why do I think that there's a famous organist from there?
I don't
Maybe
know.
not. E. Power Biggs or something? No, he
Maybe.
wasn't from there?
I don't know. I don't think, he was more from the East Coast, I think. I really don't know much about him.
Oh, okay. So you're an do you do the service every Sunday?
Yes.
And you also, what else
I
do
direct
you
the choir. I do the music for the service. I run the artist in residence program. I started an artist in residence program, which means that we have a bunch of musicians who come in and play during the service. And in exchange, they get to do various things. They get to put on concerts. They get to teach in the building.
And you
So-
also teach
I teach some private students, yes, a small studio.
here or at home?
Here,
So tell me about the music program. Just
sure.
what's it all about?
Okay. There's one service on a Sunday, and we have a great variety of music. We have a classical organ, classical piano, and we have a choir that sings the Anglican tradition music, but also other music. We've got a couple of Indian members of the choir who have, and we've written a piece, we've transcribed a piece together in the Telugu language. And so we just did that last year. We're planning on many more of those. And we do spirituals. There's a bass player in the choir. We do jazz arrangements of hymn tunes as background music, or music while people are coming in, and during communion at other spots where music's appropriate. And there's lots of splendid organ music going on throughout the service,
Which you supply?
which I supply.
Okay. So the bassist, so you do more jazz with him?
Yeah, we do jazz and classical pop improvisations, perhaps you could call them.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, jazz and more easy listening sounding. Windham Hill, a little bit in that direction. Not actually, it's not new age music.
Uh-huh.
You'd have to hear it. It's kind of different.
We were just told that sometimes you play for the art exhibits.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that would be that kind of music with the bass.
Yeah, the bassist that I taught would play, and we'd do a combination of what we do in the church. Sometimes we play hymn tunes.
Is he an amateur or a professional?
He's just getting into it. He was an electrician by trade most of his life, and he's a member of the parish, and he was in the choir, and then he always wanted to do music in a more professional way. Now he's retired, so he just spends, in terms of his time, he spends most of his time practicing piano and bass. And so I guess he'd be professional just in the amount of time he spends on it. And we have gotten paid for various gigs. We've played in restaurants and parties
yeah?
and weddings, and although that's not our main focus.
So you're, as music director, music program director,
So I provide music at all the services whenever they have them, and there's one a Sunday, and sometimes there are other special services, but usually it's a Sunday service. And I provide music before the service, music after the service, and music during the service, and there are a number of musical instruments which are involved. We have a classical guitar artist in residence. We have a fantastic trumpet player who is now the executive director of the symphony, Mark Niehaus.
and he's a member of the parish?
No, the artists in residence aren't necessarily members of the parish. They're people from the community who play music and who are of high caliber, and then we offer them a place at the church.
For what?
Well, if they can play music at the church, and then we do something in exchange for them. It's a bartered arrangement.
Uh-huh. Like
For
the-
example, I'll just tell you, Mark Niehaus,
Uh-huh.
who was the principal trumpet player for the symphony, and is now the executive director of the symphony, has a room in the basement. He's had that since before I got here, and in exchange for practicing and for teaching students. And so he gets to use that. It's his room every day of the year, and then in exchange he plays at various services.
I see. So the artists in residence don't actually move their residence.
Oh, artist in
stay
residence,
put.
right. The artist in residence term might be new to you. But have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
You have heard of that. So then you might know something about it. You might have a teacher in residence, a famous teacher, someone who's written a famous book or many books will come and stay at the university for half a semester, and he'll be in residence. That's what it means. The artists are in residence here. They can call themselves artists in residence, and we have some kind of a relationship, which is various. Every artist has his or her own agreement.
Uh-huh.
We're just working on we have a clown who does things. We have, I'll just tell you who we have. We've got a trumpet player, Mark Niehaus. We have a French horn player, Mike Keegan, classical guitar player, Jay Hildebrand, who is leaving at the end of the summer. We're looking for another one. We have a cellist.
Who's that?
That's Alana Dust.
Oh, I saw her. She had the poster up for
Yeah,
lessons.
yeah. Actually, I said that wrong. It's Alana Dust. Alana Dust. We had signed a flute player, Alana Jacobs, and I think that's all we have signed right now. But I'm negotiating with a composer in residence, and he will become a composer who writes music for us, for the
And
choir.
Who might that be?
That is Steve Rohde. He just retired from being a church musician at a Catholic church out west someplace, Christ the King, I forget, Pewaukee or someplace like that, I forgot.
So it isn't.
Burlington, I think maybe.
They're not serial. They're at the same time. I mean. the
Right, we have
art-
all kinds of artists in residence.
All at the
They
same
contribute,
time.
and it gives them an opportunity to do what they need to do. A performance venue, they have a venue from which they can teach their students, or they can put concerts on here.
Very interesting. So, so tell me about the concerts that you put on outside of the church service.
But at the church.
At the church, yeah.
We're not really. We haven't grown that like we will eventually. Well, it's been in business for about 5 years, but I haven't done a lot of advertising, or we haven't got a committee together to be responsible for marketing that. So sometimes we'll have 40 people there. Sometimes we'll have 1 or 2 at this point. But as the parish grows, then more people from the parish will come, and yeah. So
So how many concerts do you have? And
They're-
about when are they?
yeah, there are 9 concerts, 1 a month.
Oh, 1 a month.
9
okay.
concerts during the school year, during the academic year, and we have all kinds of groups come in. I do about 3 solo concerts, piano and organ, or piano and bass and organ. Then Mike Keegan, the artist in residence who plays horn, uses his barter is he likes to do concerts. So he and I have a duo, and we do horn and piano or horn and organ music, and he has a number of other groups that he works with. He's got a horn quartet and a big brass group, I think about 7, 8 brass instruments, combined with St. Mark's in South Milwaukee. There's a Lutheran church called St. Mark's.
Oh,
And so we have a connection. Our names are the same. And the Lutherans and the Episcopalians are in concordat, meaning that they are, they're not the same church, but a Lutheran minister can preside at an Episcopal service, and an Episcopal minister can preside at a Lutheran service. So I don't know the exact details and all the theology, the fine points of the theology of the concordat. However, there is a great deal of friendship, let's say.
and what is this church right across your grounds here? What is that?
Church in the City. And I really don't know much about it because I've never been to a service. I'm always over here on Sunday morning. So I really would be hard-pressed to deliver an accurate assessment of what they do over there. But they're very nice people, and we work together for those downer days that you might have talked to Stacy about,
Yeah.
interacting with the community. We do a number of things with the community, and as part of community events or our own events, which have become more community events like the pumpkin sale. I mean, that's almost a community thing now. Everybody looks forward to the pumpkin sale. Have you ever seen that?
No, but this year at Halloween, I think I'll come over.
Yeah, the front lawn is just lined with pumpkins. All these beautiful pumpkins and gourds, things you've never imagined.
Carved?
They're not carved. No, they're for sale for people to take home,
Yeah.
and that contributes to the outreach program at St. Mark's. There are a whole list of outreach groups that this money goes to support: Sojourner Truth,
yeah.
abused women's shelters, and just all kinds of stuff. I can't even remember. There's so many of them.
Now, before I go further, would you be willing to, later on, after we're done here, to play the organ for us and
Sure.
let us take a clip of that?
Sure.
That'd be lovely.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. How much time we got?
I heard you have a class today.
Right. I've got things I've got to do. I'm supposed to meet somebody at 1.
Okay, could it be like after 4 or something like that? 'Cause
How much time? How much information do you want? Let's talk real fast and let's go do it before 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah, that would
Oh,
be
but
great.
that's only 15 minutes.
Oh, you guys want a more leisurely conversation? You want to?
Well,
Well, how much do you need from me? What?
I've just scheduled half an hour interview with him, so.
Oh, so, okay, that's fine. Just one more question.
Yeah.
Education. Who do you educate here? I saw your office with tons of music books and
Musical instruments.
space for people to rehearse and stuff. What is that about?
That's the choir room. We have a lot of different things we do in music, a lot of various things we do in music. We've got a person who plays the bells. We've got little kids who I teach who play. On the Sunday after Pentecost, we had a little tiny violinist. She must have been about 8 years old, and she just brought the house down. It was just, yeah, and she played beautifully. Her name was Kat Lacey, and she played for a baptism, and she had been baptized here.
Oh, how sweet.
5 years before, 6 years before that maybe, or 7, however old she is. So she played for a baptism of a little kid. She had just been recently baptized, 7 years, 8 years.
So you rehearse the choir?
I rehearse.
That's mostly for the choir.
That's for the choir, but we have other. I rehearse with all the musicians in there. I mean, we have all these musicians that I mentioned. And the UWM guitar ensemble has been coming over twice a year to do concerts because the acoustics are perfect for small ensembles. Acoustics are wonderful for a small group
In the church?
in the church. Wonderful for the organ and just any smaller group of people.
Sounds great.
It's just
Should we do that then?
Yeah.
Move over to the,
sure.
oh, it'd be wonderful, thank you.
Do you need anything else from
We
me?
need to make sure we don't,
Do they have? Here's some questions. Do you guys have some questions?
He might have.
As long as we're talking, we should finish the talking.
Right. I'm curious. So you said, I'm just curious how you got connected to St. Mark's to begin with.
Yeah, so that's actually my question as well.
Okay. I've been a church musician all my life.
Oh,
And I was at the Episcopal Cathedral for about 8 years. That's downtown.
it's in
Juneau?
downtown Juneau?
Juneau,
Yeah.
right. So I was the music director there. I've got 2 master's degrees in music, and I went to grad school for 7 years for music. So if I had just stuck around a little longer, I could have had 3 more master's degrees. So I've just been studying music all my life. I'm a classical pianist, a jazz pianist, classical organist, and composer. I've had a bunch of pieces published. And I write music all the time. Right now I'm writing mostly for the bass player and myself because the congregation really likes the jazzy stuff, Kids, moms and dads bring their kids here, or so they've told me, because they don't have any trouble bringing their kids here because the kids like the music and they're about. It's a really interesting combination of great classical music and jazz and all the things that I mentioned earlier. So I was at the cathedral, and for about 8 years, and then I got into real estate. I dropped out of music altogether, and I did that for about 10 years. And then their organist had left, the St. Mark's organist had left, and someone in the choir had been in, this choir, St. Mark's, had been in my choir at the cathedral. They had just changed parishes for whatever reason, they moved or something. And she said, well, you know, Steve Wolff isn't playing anything and doing anything anymore in music, and mentioned that to Father David Pfaff, who was the rector at the time. So he called me up and said, we need a temporary organist, an interim organist. Could you help us out a little bit? And I thought to myself, I wasn't ever going to do music again. And I thought to myself, well, it's only a few blocks from my house, and you know, and I'll get paid for it. Sure, that's great. A little more money coming in, and so I started doing it. But I fell in love with church music and music all over again. So I really needed that break. And so then I started doing that, and then I got rid of all my real estate, and now I'm just doing music.
Oh,
Well, I'm doing music, and I'm doing my new career is writing words. I write about 5 or 6 hours a day, and I study.
what are you writing?
I'm just about done with a century of sonnets, 100 sonnets. And I have 2 more to go, and I need to take a little more time on one sonnet on Newton, because I'm writing on Newton. It's going to be a sonnet embedded in a larger structure of free verse and prose. And I need to know calculus, and I haven't studied calculus since high school, so I'm going back and I'm revisiting all the mathematics. Because mathematics is so fun. It's just.
So you're writing the sonnets.
So I'm writing the sonnets. Yeah, I just have 2 left. One climactic moment sonnet is about Newton. It's going to be about his life and.
Did you read this biography by Glick, I think it is?
I know you're talking. I read that. Yeah, it's not Glick.
It's very nice. I thought it was Glick.
Maybe it is Glick, but maybe there's a name very similar to that, who is the author of a book that I did read, Dalton. Oh, I almost got it. And it had some CK sounds in it, so it may be Glick. But no, I didn't read that one. If it's Glick, that's real. I didn't read it.
It's very nice. Really.
Okay, Glick. All right. Okay, is that we're cool? Anything else?
I think I'm good now.
That's how I got involved. So we were at that. I maybe didn't finish that off. So I was going to be the interim organist, but I fell in love with this thing all over again, the life of the artist, and now I'm doing that. Yeah.
This might be a big question, but what prompted your break to transition over to real estate, to break away from music?
Oh, I wanted to be a rich musician instead of a poor one.
I see. And I'm curious, what's your attachment to the church? What has this experience been for you? What does it mean for you to be the director, or to play music for the children who enjoy the music so much? What does it mean to you?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's just I'd rather do music for something other than myself. I'm not a musician who has a big ego and wants everybody to admire me and look at me, and I'm not very good at promoting myself. I'd rather just get better at what I'm doing, just keep practicing and writing and do something for some other purpose. In this case, it's worship and praise of God. So that's what it means to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's good that you have the opportunity.
Yeah. And the people here are just so nice. They're just the nicest group of people I've ever had a chance to work with.
And you're from Milwaukee?
I was actually born in Milwaukee. My dad was working on a master's degree in English literature over at Marquette. So I was born here. But then I grew up in northern Illinois.
Okay. And then when did you come over to Milwaukee?
When I got the cathedral job, I'd finished my studies, and
Which studies?
the music studies.
Okay. The first 2 masters?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so then I came to the cathedral, and I hadn't been in the Episcopal Church before. I'd been in the Lutheran, the Baptist, and the Catholic churches, but I'd never been in the Episcopal Church. So I thought, oh, this is kind of fun. Cathedral, that sounds good. Looks good in the resume.
What church did you grow up in?
Roman Catholic.
Oh.
I come from a huge family.
Okay.
17 kids in my family, 16 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
so Irish Catholic.
So you grew up on a farm or something? I mean,
It wasn't a farm, but it was kind of like a farm. It was a bunch of properties adjacent. We had a huge garden and orchard. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's where I grew up.
What year did you come to Milwaukee, and what year did you begin your?
You know, I don't know exactly. I'd have to look at my my resume, but it's probably around. I think I came probably around 90, 92, 91,
Yeah. Okay.
something like that. But I have a lot of family that live here, that live in Milwaukee, so that was one of the reasons I wanted to come back. It just happens that the cathedral job opened up, and that was fun, and I hadn't done an Episcopal job before.
You have brothers and sisters in Milwaukee?
Yes.
I figure out of 17, probably a
Yeah.
few moved here.
Yeah, and they all went. My dad sent us all to Marquette.
Oh.
So everybody went to Marquette, and many of my brothers and sisters fell in love at Marquette and found their spouses at Marquette.
Final question. What does music mean to you?
Oh, it's a way of living. It's just a wonderful way of living. You know, living in the world of the imagination. It's a different way of thinking, which is you can think musically. It's kind of like mathematical, poetical, all at once. And I spent a lot of time there. And it's like being associated with perfections all day long. And so that has an impact on your soul. Musical perfections, beauty. If you're around beauty all the time, it helps you become a more beautiful person. My mom is a piano teacher, and she has music makes people more beautiful. That's what she had, a little plaque someone gave her, you know.
I really like that.
Yeah,
How about your visual surroundings? Is that important to you too, to be beautiful?
yeah. I'm glad that St. Mark's is such a beautiful church, and the cathedral was very, very beautiful. Before that, I was at a real big Catholic church in Toledo, Ohio, sort of like the Jesu we have here. It was named Jesu. It was a Jesuit church, and was just very beautiful. So most of my life I've been associated with churches, and they tend to be very beautiful. They tend to be. And most of the ones that I was at had enough beauty to satisfy me. Some were extraordinarily beautiful. Like the cathedral downtown is just amazing. It's just beautiful. And this church is very, very beautiful too. All that woodwork, you know. Yeah, and the glass, the stained glass windows. Oh, just beautiful.
Do you think your early childhood experience impacted on your on your life? Because
Just say that again. I missed a little bit of that.
Do you think your early childhood experience impacted on your life? Because you said your mother is piano teacher.
Piano teacher, yes.
Teacher,
Do I
and-
think whose experience? My parents' experience?
Yeah,
Oh, amazing. Yeah, completely.
Your experience as a child in
Yeah.
in the family.
Yeah.
Because your mother is a piano teacher, and probably your family is strongly related to the church.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yes. Of course. That's. Yeah. Maybe you just want me to expound on that, but yeah, we all know that's true. That your parents have an influence on you. But for me, I'll just say what my influences have been. My family was very, very religious. We said the rosary every night, and we would often read. My father went to the seminary, so he had the seminary background, and in seminaries, oftentimes there will be reading of spiritual text during dinner, and everybody's quiet. So we did that, not all the time, but very often. Rosary every night, daily Mass. We almost always went to Mass in the morning. And so it was very, very intensely religious. And what we had at home were just books and musical instruments, no TV. We had all this area to run around in, and pets, lots of pets, and all this work that we did, this farming, this laboring work that we did. We weren't farmers, but we did a lot of gardening and canning and just the stuff you might think of as a pioneer family might do. You know what I mean? Or people who were really close to the land, the Back to the Earth movement. Sort of. My mom and dad weren't in that, weren't involved in that movement at all, but that's what that's how they raised the family. We produced a lot of our own food.
Let me ask you something.
Chickens,
Sort of-
yeah, we'd buy chickens, and then we'd chop the chickens up and you know, slaughter them, butcher them is what we do.
So what,
Just to be
along-
mindful of his time, you said you had to meet someone at 1.
Yes, but we'll say, the person is supposed to call me.
Call you, okay.
Yes,
Just wanna-
yeah, thank you for thinking about me.
Yeah.
just a follow-up question, what do you think was the bigger influence on you, the religion or the music?
Both, and because I didn't go on to the music, because my mother taught piano. She taught us all how to play piano, and then we all played a couple of instruments, at least 2 instruments. Some people played 3, and we all sang. And so that's what we did with our spare time. We read books and we practiced our instruments, and studied. Everybody was real good in school, and and my mother was a church musician. I should have said that. She taught piano, but she also was the organist at our church. And my dad, having been in the seminary, had a very strong theological background, strong theology background, and he sang in the choir at the church where we grew up. And we went to church at Prince of Peace Catholic Church in Lakeville, Illinois. So we all went there, and we filled up a couple of pews. And my father was on the what here we call the vestry, would be the parish council in the Catholic Church. But in the Episcopal Church, it's called the vestry. So we're very involved in the church and very involved in trying to live a highly moral life, trying to be good, trying to be good people. And the music was part of it, and the education was part of it. And he sent us all to Catholic schools, so we were all associated with Catholic schools.
Are you still involved in Catholic?
I'm not, but that's more because of the music. The music went really downhill after Vatican II. And because I'm such a lover of music, I just had a hard time praying through music, which I thought was second rate. After Vatican II, a lot of folk music came in, and I love folk music, but a lot of folk music came in that was very badly written. Nothing wrong with any kind of music. It's
Was
just
that
that,
associated with a switch to vernacular
yeah, we
language
had
from Latin?
Yeah, the Catholic Church needed a new repertory of music, and they had to try to supply it in short order. How do you get a whole new repertory? So one of the things they did was borrow from the Protestant churches, and so some of the great Lutheran hymns are now being sung by Catholics, and but a lot of the music had to be composed, and it was composed very quickly, and by people who weren't skilled. All the people who were skilled were still thinking about Renaissance polyphony and all the art of real classical music, which had dominated every church for probably since Gregorian chant, since the 900s. The church has always been a really strong proponent of good music, and so that's why I'm in the Episcopal Church. And there are other reasons too, but I don't think we need to go into them. I'm not going to talk about my reasons. But I'm a Christian. What I'm really enjoying being as a Christian, as opposed to being an Episcopalian or a Lutheran or a Baptist or a Catholic.
It's interesting that music was the reason that you...
Well, you need to, if you have to go find a place where your spirit is going to be nurtured and where you're going to flourish. And if you're going to a church, and even if I went to the church and didn't have to play it, it would still bother me terribly. And I just can't get beyond the ugliness of the music. Although some people, my tastes are different than a lot of people, so I consider that ugly. But please realize I don't think everybody does. And there are many people who are being nourished and worshipped. They flourish in this kind of environment. Well, what kind of background did you have?
Jewish.
Jewish. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I'm greatly into music, classical.
Yeah.
And I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm into, no, this doesn't have to be here. I'm doing some writing on Graham Greene. It's interesting what you're saying
Graham
about
Greene.
Vatican II.
Yeah.
Because he felt the same way.
Ah.
Not so much the music, but
There's
the
a lot.
liturgy.
Some of the mystery was lost.
Yeah.
It's coming back. It's
he
the Episcopal.
practically
Yeah.
dumped the church at that point
Yeah.
with Vatican II.
Now, what I found in the Episcopal Church was also, my first Episcopal Church was the cathedral, which is highly ritualistic, lots of incense, and so that filled my need for liturgy. And so I do like ceremony and to solemnize events in life, the calendar, the church calendar. it's good to celebrate things more specifically than other things. And it's nice to have a round in your year, moving through your faith.
Yeah.
In the case of my Christian faith. And what about you? What's your background?
My background?
Yeah.
Religious?
I am not religious at all, actually.
Okay.
As many Japanese too, because our religion is really secular in Japan.
Okay.
I'm technically Buddhist, but not really like religious.
Yeah. Okay. And what about you, sir?
I was raised in a Christian household, and we were very, very intensely Christian for the period when my mother was ill. But then we kind of distanced away.
Yeah.
So,
That happens when you need God. You're there banging at the door. When you,
yeah.
We're all like
It
that.
happened. Yeah.
Right? The Jews are just like that too.
Yeah.
We're all like
We're
that.
always banging at the door. though.
Yeah. Look, my faith has gone up and down and up and down, and I find in this church it's a real, it's really good to be here. I'm supported by some very good people, so you're not, there's no grapevine. So in all the other churches, you have to sort of fight through humanity. Here, there's just not many, everybody's so nice. There's no grapevine. In every church I've been at, there's a grapevine. The people, every church.
Oh, wow.
You know how it is. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
sure in the Jewish
Yeah,
church the
yeah.
same, of
Synagogues,
course.
right.
Yeah, in the synagogues, yeah, you got it. And, yeah, but here there doesn't seem to be any it's real
great.
easy to be here without any kind of negative drag.
That's rare.
Yeah, it's very rare. So I'm really glad to be here. Yeah, and I get to do all this creative stuff, and that inspires people. I'm inspired, and I'm practicing the bowran right now, the Irish drum. I'm Irish in background, so we'll be incorporating that somehow in church services down the
You
road.
ever go to St. Robert's?
I'm so busy on Sunday morning. I don't. I
You
suppose I
have
could.
to go to St. Robert's.
Why?
Well, first of all, it was founded as an Irish Catholic church.
Okay.
Second of all, visually, it is beautiful.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll have
I
to get in there.
love that church.
Oh, okay. I'll have to get in
Absolutely
there.
love it. It is so beautiful, inside and out. I live in that neighborhood, and I'm
Oh.
constantly riding my bicycle around and loving it.
Ah, I'll have to try to stop over there sometime.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it also has a very nice feel to it.
Okay.
I don't know the parish at all, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me that if it's
Very nice.
it's like this.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Thank you.
All right. So we can do a little playing then. We're all set.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I don't know how that's going to fit into the culture. Is that?
Oh, it will. It will very much.
Very much.
Play whatever you would play on a Sunday morning.
I'll just play a little bit of how much time do you need? How much? You have 2 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go.
Dan, can you set this up?
You want piano and organ?
Whatever you're willing to do.
All right.
Whatever you think this is. What you call ambient sound.
I left my glasses on the table over there.
I can bring it over.
Now, the sound would be best actually out there for the organ,
Okay.
because then it gets to mix around and bounce around a little